Dr. Keith, what do you make of the vaccine debate? Who, out of the sound that we played, is getting it right?
Well, I think that for each of the individuals, they want to get it right for themselves. So they're all saying the same thing. It makes sense to vaccinate your kids. But where Governor Christie and Senator Paul, I think, are wrong, is that the government obviously has to play a role in determining some of the things that all of us do when we're going to be grouped together in public places, right? And one of them is protect other children from communicable diseases by vaccinating your children. Look, we have to send our kids to school, too, or develop a curriculum to deliver that to them at home. So our freedoms are not infinite when you live in a civilized society. And those who would pretend that they are don't understand that there's a balance to be struck. Yeah. And this is one of those places. This plays very well for Dr. Ben Carson, by the way, because he's somebody who understands the nuances involved.
You know, and I understand Harris wanting to say that parents have a right to do what they will with their young children, but also, don't you have a right as a parent to protect other kids as well from a possible outbreak or your kid getting sick?
So I'm going to lean in toward the doctor here, because yesterday I made a comment that I don't judge the way that the parents are deciding for their children because they're doing it from the heart. Where we're coming at this, though, is that we need herd immunity for our kids. I mean, our kids have to be protected. And, you know, it's not so much whether you feel one way or another about vaccination. It has to happen in some degree to protect everybody. It's the conversation that needs to happen so that people don't feel judged. Well, so how do we get to those parents who are making different choices?
Very simple.
Not make them feel judged, include them, because they're going to do what they're going to do.
It's very simple.
And we need to know that they're doing it.
And you say to people, listen, you don't want to vaccinate your child. That child, therefore, cannot come to public school. You'll have to arrange homeschooling for your child at your own cost. And we'll have to supervise just how that's going to unfold. Make your decision, pay the price.
I don't know that goes far enough, because, I mean, I'm all for personal freedom without question, right up until the moment that you start harming someone else. I mean, that's where it drops off. And we're talking about infants out there in the population who cannot protect themselves. We've eradicated this disease, and all of a sudden it's making a comeback because people are choosing not to have this vaccination. We can't go back to that. I mean, I hate big government. No one hates the government telling them what to do more than I do. But this is a case where we have to, as a group, you know, have some social responsibility and look out for those who can't look out for themselves. I mean, you're endangering infants by not doing this. You're endangering folks who legitimately can't get it by reintroducing it to the population.
And saying if you're fine not vaccinating your kids, that's your choice. Aren't you then saying that you're not really watching what happens to your kid? Like, that could affect your child.
Well, and that's a point that people brought up, and I think it's a good one. Your logic that the government has to control everything we do when we're in a group setting is totally flawed. And I can give you several examples when we're all together, and the government doesn't need to give everyone oversight on a plane, although we're all together.
Okay. We'll check your hearing.
No. That's exactly what you said. That when people are together in a group, that there needs to be government oversight. No, clarify your point, because that is very dangerous. It's also very dangerous not to vaccinate your children. And, you know, a lot of people have been making the point, the parents, the rational parents who choose to vaccinate their kids, which they should. They ought to make that choice. You know, vaccines do work, and I understand people are scared about putting chemicals in their children. I totally understand that, but they have been proven safe in study after study. That doesn't mean the government has to tell you what to do.
Kennedy doesn't like metal detectors at airports. She feels that's offensive.
Don't you dare put words in my mouth, because I will smack you down and I will bring you down to Chinatown.
Anything that people
I'm going to ignore this Lex Luthor
I knew there'd be fireworks here.
And I'm going to tell you, Judge Andrew Napolitano had it right when he said, if you know your kid is not vaccinated and they get sick and you put them into a social setting, you have committed.
If you knew.
And we have